Long ago, a great beast came from the sea and spread a poisonous fog across the earth. This event transformed the world into a new age, an age of magic, but also an age of death. Creatures and abominations came from the fog. Silver liquid fell from the moon and made a deep passage into the earth. As humans became destitute, having fought and lost to creatures throughout the many years, they created a great well, a series of pits and tunnels carved out by the silver moonlight. And in this sunken heap, they banished abominations, creatures, and anything else undesirable. A simple thief, one who would steal back their life, has just been thrown into this strange underworld. Well, I'd hate to be that guy, right, Cartman? Uh-oh. Oh! Ow! What the hell, man? Well, joke's on you, Buster. I was going to talk about this place anyway. Hello, everyone. I am GalicEnder, and welcome to another exciting and back-breaking episode of Indie Shelf. Today, we will be going over what I consider to be one of the most simplistic, yet creative and atmospheric games I have ever played. Lunacid, developed by Kira LLC. Lunacid is a first-person dungeon crawler that takes heavy inspiration from Kingsfield, a fantasy adventure series developed by From Software before they became famous for the Soulsborne series. Despite its looks and clear inspirations, this game is a heartfelt love letter to the fans of these classic titles, taking these elements and truly making it their own, presenting a dreary yet beautiful world with plenty to explore. The more I discovered in this hell well, the more surprised I became with just how much depth and thought went into the world's design. The atmosphere of this game is second to none. Don't let the low-poly PS1 aesthetic fool you. The way Kira expresses these simplistic designs by utilizing lighting and fog effects really draws out the eerie nature this game portrays, while simultaneously making other areas feel oddly relaxing. Another tool Lunacid uses to bring these areas to life is its incredible soundtrack. Each track is specially crafted to boost the overall theme of the area you're exploring. Like the undead choir with their ghostly wails echoing in your ear as you lurk through the cultist lair of Hollow Basin, or the ambiance of cicadas, rustling leaves, and soft chimes as you observe the ethereal creatures of the Forgotten Forest. Each level plays with your senses in a unique way, making them all extremely memorable and giving you the urge to investigate every nook and cranny. And believe me, you will have plenty to discover. Lunacid has an abundance of secrets to uncover. Everywhere you look, there is a puzzle to be solved, a hidden door to open, and clues that reveal the lore of the land or the next location of your treasure hunt. But as amazing as these levels are, I found myself getting lost quite often, hence the playtime. This game loves its winding hallways and huge corridors with multiple pathways, and while I appreciate the emphasis on exploration, there are times where the paths look way too similar to one another, leading me to walk in circles and just hoping I'll make the right turn this time around. But before you start your trek through the well, you'll need to create a character. At the beginning of the game, you have a plethora of classes to choose from, each one specializing in their own specific stats, with some having unique features. I went with the Knight for my first playthrough, because to hell with your fancy magic or vampiric lifesteal, I'm here to find the biggest bonk stick I can get my hands on and see that health bar get chunked. And while playing, I had no shortage of tools to express my ways of the bonk. Iron clubs, shadow katanas, the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII, and even this thing. Each weapon has its own unique properties in terms of speed and damage, and this one is just a straight up gun. Magic weapons are useful for their elemental effects, adding debuffs to your opponent. These elements consist of dark, light, lightning, flame, ice, and poison. All have their uses, and certain enemies can be weak or resistant to these effects, encouraging weapon swapping for some added variety. Regular weapons are also shown some love, as the more they are used in battle, the more their XP bar fills up, and when completely filled, they can be enhanced by dipping them in the oil well back in the game's hub area, altering their appearance and making them stronger. The combat, though simple in execution, has hidden layers of depth, making it easy to learn and fun to master. When fighting an enemy, striking their limbs or obvious weak spots acts as a critical strike, dealing extra damage. And should you hit this weak spot multiple times, you have the chance of chopping it clean off your opponent, giving the act of landing those critical hits that extra oomph. Though Lunacid spoils you with a vast arsenal of weapons, I'm sad to say, it also shows its fair share of favoritism. For most weapons I found were not as good as the one I was currently using. Sure, some could be upgraded, but even when I took the time to grind the XP for these weapons, I still ran into this problem. This issue really only showed itself during the mid-game, but with how expansive Lunacid's world is, it felt like a solid 75% of this game was the mid-game. And only in the last few areas did I start to discover the game's most creative weapons. Don't get me wrong, they were cool. I love the speed slashing of the Blessed Wind, or being able to set up projectile combos with Moonlight, but I played a huge chunk of this game only using the Twisted Staff, because it was never not good. A staff with a high damage projectile that also has the chance to burn enemies, and acts as a good light source? Yeah, this stick be broken. Though most weapons lacked in usability, I did not have the same problem with the spells. And even though my character was set up as a melee build, I still had enough mana to use each spell to their full potential and use them multiple times before my mana bar depleted. Spells are incredibly utilized in every aspect of this game. Combat, puzzle solving, exploration, even uncovering hidden secrets. Every spell has a use, and it's so cool to see how some of them interact with the game's levels. Sure, some are definitely better than others, but I would still argue that the way this game uses spells has way more thought put into it than its weapons. I was swapping them around constantly, either for combat or to see if they interacted with a random object I found to reveal a secret. And just like the weapons, there are no shortage of spells to discover as you traverse the game's world, discovering where they're hiding. Lunacid has some of the most creative secrets I have ever seen in a dungeon crawler. They all utilize the atmosphere of the area you're in, encouraging experimentation and self-inflicted head trauma as you bonk your head on every wall trying to find hidden rooms. With every secret you discover, there is always a worthwhile reward waiting for you. Whether it's carefully navigating around booby traps in an ancient sand temple, finding secret rooms with clues inside, or fighting your way through a tower-style combat trial, it's always worth getting that dopamine shot seeing the glowing treasure in front of you. But this is also its greatest flaw. Sometimes Lunacid is too creative with its secrets. I'll admit, I was pretty proud of myself for finding about 85% of the secret weapons, spells, and special items on my own, but my god, there is no way in hell you are going to figure out some of these secrets without the use of a guide. And normally I wouldn't have a problem with this, but before I go further with this criticism, I'm about to share a huge spoiler. So if you plan on playing this game or haven't finished it yet, skip to the timestamp on screen. We good? Okay. To get to the actual final boss fight, you have to find and level up every single weapon and spell in the game. Look, I'm all for the vagueness of some of these secrets because it brings back those days of when you talk to your friends in school about a game you were all playing at the time, and you could just casually say to them, "Oh hey, did you know about this secret?" Building up that old school community. But when these secrets gatekeep you from the final fight, the thing I spent hours trying to get to only be shown a weird cutscene and being told, "Oh, you're not done yet," is just straight up lame. It cuts out all the built-up tension leading to this moment and can be really frustrating, especially when the solution isn't clearly said to you. Just saying, "You're not done," doesn't nail down what exactly you need to do. But I digress. Okay guys, you can uncover your ears now. Let's take a look at your base of operations, Wings Rest. Here you can speak with some of the locals and catch up on some of the lore. Stop by the shop and restock on supplies, and even pick up a few new trinkets. Perform alchemy to make your own potions and unique consumables that will help you in battle. And the previously mentioned oil well that upgrades your weapons after they gather enough XP. But they're not the only ones that have this ability. The more enemies you destroy, the more XP you gain, so you can level up your own stats however you like. You can do this at any magic crystal you discover. These crystals act similarly to the bonfires in Dark Souls. You can level up your stats, fast travel to any other crystals you discover, and save your game. And you will want to save often. For every time you die, you go right back to your last save, risking a whole bunch of progress every time you ignore this mechanic. Lastly are the NPCs, and my god, I love them all. There are not too many, but each has their own purpose and brings more life into the game's world with every interaction. My favorite thing is that sometimes when you spawn back in Wings Rest, there's a chance they'll all start playing musical instruments, adding more layers to the song being played. It's just really freaking cool, and I love musical stuff like this. Keep doing this. Lunacid is a remarkable title that takes themes from the past and brings them to the present, while showing us an expressive Grimdark world with an abundance to discover. And though at times the world is difficult to navigate, every discovery made, whether it's a new area, secret weapon, or new character, is extremely satisfying and makes all the hardships worth it. Though at times the game seems unfairly vague, I still highly recommend a blind playthrough, and then starting over as a new class to run through it all again with a fresh playstyle, discovering anything you couldn't find the first time. And believe me, you will find something. The gameplay is easy to learn, but gives you a lot to play with, giving the player a massive arsenal filled with unique weapons and spells that can also be used as a tool to unlock more secrets. Combat is fun with the crit system, making every strike feel impactful as you hack off enemy body parts and debuffing them with status effects from your magic items and spells. This game is a hidden gem, and I highly recommend it to anyone who is looking for a brand new adventure. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!